Meng, thanks for joining us.
It's good to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much. First of all, let me ask you, as a lawyer, are numbers important to you?
Oh yeah, I mean, numbers are very important. When we look at a case or we look at a transaction, being a lawyer means being involved in the details, and the details could be dates, it could be sum of money, it could be the number of plants we're building, and and also I guess from the lawyer's perspective, they invented this thing called the charge-out rate, which is the number of dollars you charge per hour. So when you do the multiplication, that's all about numbers as well.
This week we're looking at multiplication at FCC and discipleship. If you were making a case for discipleship as a lawyer, how would multiplication factor into that case?
When we look at the Bible itself, the Bible tells us to entrust to faithful men what God has taught us. And the whole idea of multiplication in a church is not only for the individuals to receive the word, but also, as important, to pass the word on to somebody else. In the Great Commission, we are taught to make disciples of all men, as opposed to just making converts of them. So if you look at the whole strategy from God's perspective, we have to look at it from our personal angle as well as that of the church. So I guess this is where I want to show you something on the board.
Okay.
Can I do that?
Go ahead.
If you're looking at it from a personal perspective, as I was saying, if you're one person and you entrust to two faithful person who will then entrust to two faithful person each. So you have 1, 2, and 4, and each one of you disciple 2 individuals, say for 2 years. It may not look like very big numbers, but that's from a personal perspective. But if you put it in the perspective of the church, how many people do we have in church? About 100? You see how multiplication works? I think that's what it is with the kingdom of God. Jesus talked about the parable of the sower and how when the good seed falls on good soil, what you have is 100-fold multiplication of fruitfulness. And I believe that's how we can all participate in that.
Thank you for that illustration, Meng.
Sure.
We know this matters to Christians all around the world, and then discipleship is a good thing. But can you explain to me why this matters, or why this is important to us, especially in our community at FCC?
I think we're blessed with a wonderful church. We are very close as a church. We have wonderful fellowship. There's wonderful relationship amongst the different individuals. And I think the church is also full of great people, very hospitable people, very generous people, very real people, authentic people who want to be real followers of Christ. So in that context, I think FCC is a very good church for discipleship to take place, because what is discipleship at the end of the day? Discipleship means being with someone, and rather than just hearing what they say, it is really being part of their lives, to see for yourself how they go about their daily life. And in that context, if our lives are real and we believe in God and we see how God has an impact on the everyday issues of our life, not just on Sunday but throughout the week, I think people will come to see the attraction of Jesus. If you think about it, during the times of the Bible, the Old Testament or the New Testament, that is how one become master of anything. If you think about carpenter, and Jesus was a carpenter, the only way for you to learn to be a carpenter, a master carpenter, is to be a disciple. You don't just take lessons over the internet or you go to a classroom. You follow the master and you learn from him everyday life as well as the skills, the type of wood to buy, the kind of tools to use, and you're part of the family. And that's how, from a disciple, you become a really good master carpenter.
Do you think there's another word that you have that can describe the word discipleship? Do you have any other words for it?
Not so much a word, but a phrase, I would say. Sure. It's more like being part of someone's life. I think that's what it is, right? Being part of someone's life. Because when we are part of someone's life, we share in the joy, we share in the sorrow, and it becomes very real. And that's what people are looking for. They're not looking for a religion, they're looking for a real relationship with a real God. And if we can show, not with words, but with our lives, that our God is real in our lives, I think people will see something different in us.